2016 really will go down in history as a year that we broke the rules. I mean, we've never seen a presidential season like we did in 2016. Donald Trump was a quintessential outsider. He ran against the Republican establishment. He emerged as the front runner and then the nominee of the party. But he has governed as a president who essentially tunes in response to his base, not the majority of American people. While many Americans thought that once he got in the White House that he would pivot to try to serve all of the American people. And I'm not saying that he's not trying to serve us, but I'm saying the service and the message that he provides each and every day is to keep his base, very, if you want to call it entertained, if you want to call him energized, if you want to call him inspired. But, Trump, who I do believe at this point should be much higher in the polls given the economy, remains underwater, I believe, because he has failed to really try to unify the American people. So he's gone into his re-election mode, probably in the worst shape of any president seeking a second term. But we do know from history that presidents often win second terms. So with very few exceptions, and the most recent one, of course, being George Herbert Walker Bush when Bill Clinton defeated him, and of course Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. So we'll see what happens in 2020.
So one of the things that has concerned me about this administration, and I spent 5 terms covering the Supreme Court in Washington and sort of getting to know how things work there. There's a professionalization of the staffs that serve presidents that keep them from some of these excesses, right? I feel like that's not happening in quite the same way with the Trump administration, and that explains some of the things that we continue to see that might have been written off as kind of rookie mistakes in his first couple of years. Do you see that changing at all in Washington? Is this staff getting better at managing this president and this presidency?
Well, when he was first elected and he began to put people around him like Rex Tillerson and the general at the Defense Department, General Mattis, and others, everyone said, okay, well, there's enough grown-ups in the room.
Yeah.
But over the last few months, as many people have left the White House, or John Kelly, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Jeff Sessions, people kept saying, wait a minute, something is happening. I mean, there's too much, transition and change going on a constant basis. I think Donald Trump is the head chief and commander. He's running the show. Even when he goes out there and declares that the little small missile that North Korea just sent across the bay, well, that's just a small missile. Well, this is a missile from a rogue nation. This is a missile from a dictator who has threatened us. And yet Trump dismissed it as if, well, he still likes me, so everything must be okay. No, we don't know which way the president will go. All we could do every day is to pray and hope that there are people around him who know what they're doing and that they will continue to protect our country.
Yeah. You have advised presidents before on strategy, presidential candidates on strategy. If you were an advisor to Donald Trump, what would you tell him? What would you tell him to stop doing? What would you tell him to do more of?
I think I'm like most Americans. Get rid of your Twitter habits.
Put the phone down, right?
Well, whatever it is, just get rid of your Twitter habits. Look, there are a certain number of Americans who love those tweets, who follow those tweets. There are now many journalists who cover those tweets. But I think by and large, on days when he appears to be having a good moment, he tweets and then everybody basically says, wait a minute, did you see the tweet? And that's it. I mean, on a day where the economy, when they announced the new unemployment numbers, unemployment is still going down, people are finding jobs. And what does the president do? He started tweeting out about something he dislikes a person. Right? He's constantly stepping on his own message.
Yeah. Do you feel like he would say that a lot of this is about the press and the way that we cover him? And that's different than it has been in the past. I'm the first person to say I think the press does treat him differently, and they have to approach this White House differently because all of the norms have been rewritten. I mean, the ways in which we're accustomed to a president dealing with the press are all out the window. But do you think that the Washington press deserves some blame for
Well,
the
I
way?
think if I mean, let's go back to the announcement back in March of 2015. From the day Donald Trump came down those stairs, the media decided that this was an entertainment show. This was not a typical candidate, and they covered him as if he was entertainment. And they, in fact, many news outlets hired people who knew Trump so that they could talk about Trump. So there's been a Trump effect on the media. There's been a Trump effect on our, what I like to call our electorate. There's been a Trump effect internationally. So I think Donald Trump has accomplished one goal. He has put his name on just about everything he touches. Unfortunately, it's not always in his best interest or the country's best interest to have his name on everything.